Good afternoon. We're going to do the watch list for September 14th. Just coming off from a very great week. Actually, first 2 weeks have been really good. Finished last week 18-0, and the week before, I don't remember, it's 28-3 or something like that. But yeah, I'm having some really killer weeks. Hopefully the streak will continue and we'll have another great week this week. So if you're not in the Discord room, the link is in the description of the video, and you can also find them on Twitter and StockTwits in the bio section. So yeah, we'll start with the bullish side. I think that we've had a lot of red days, red week, so I think we're going to see some recovery. So yeah, let me get this out of the way. That was from my thumbnail. Okay, now first on my watch list, we're gonna go on the bullish side, and I have Tesla up, so I might as well just do Tesla. It's rejecting the middle Keltner channel on the daily, and usually when it does reject that, it usually goes down, and it could possibly, under 360, it could go down to 330, but it's Tesla. Tesla just keeps going and going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. You cannot stop the stupid thing. So I am watching it over, I would say over 380 for push to 400. And if it gets to 400, probably fill this little hourly gap rate of 415. And if it keeps going, we could see 425. But also we got to remember that the daily setup usually statistically below the middle Keltner or the 20 EMA. It will reject, but it's in oversold conditions on the daily, so it's probably gonna push. So like I said, it's Tesla, so definitely watch that. Lululemon, LULU. This thing just has been getting just demolished. It was a $400 stock, and now it's at 313. You can look right here on the 1 hour. There's a bullish divergence right here. You can see the MACD is making lower highs. Higher lows, and this is making lower lows. So definitely a bearish divergence. You can see it right there, and you can see it on the MACD right here, and same with the stochastics and the RSI. So it is a high probability that this is probably going to reverse this week. Over 315 for a push to 330, even get into this 335 area. If it does manage to break out and get into 335 and get some momentum behind it, it's going to fill the gap and go straight to 350. So Lululemon is going to be one of my biggest watches this week. Netflix is another one. It's at support right here on the daily, and if it does break down, it could come down to 450, but I'm looking forward to it bouncing. So if it does drop a little bit, that's even better. I'll even get in lower, but be watching over the 486 for a push to 490 to 500, and if it can get through 500, I'm probably gonna push to the 510 area. So I would watch Netflix this week for a bounce. The 4 hour, the daily means all oversold. Same thing. It's bullish divergence right here on the 1 hour. You can see it right there too on the histogram. This is making the price making lower lows, and the this is making higher lows. So yeah. The next one is EA. Let's see. EA, same thing. It's kind of like it's an oversold conditions on the daily. It can definitely go down lower, but I would like to see it push to the 330 plus. So I would watch it over the 127 for push to 130. If it does manage to break 130, it's probably gonna get to 131, 132, and if it does manage to get over this 132 area right here, it's probably going to push to the 134. So now you can also see that on the weekly, no, I don't have it on this chart, but on the weekly, the 37 EMA is right here. It bounced right off the 37 EMA at the 123. So if you look at the weekly on that, Yeah, I have my research setup is completely different than my trading because I want to see what it looks like on a longer time frame. So next one is going to be Sharp. The reason I use different indicators and different setup for my research is I want to see the bigger time frames, like I said, and I want to see where the big key levels are and where any other things that the algos will react to or the market makers or whatever. So Sharp, I mean, it is at support, but this is Shopify. I mean, it's in oversold conditions. Last time it was right in here at pop. So, I mean, it did consolidate for a little while. So it could go sideways. But if it doesn't, I'd watch it over the 925 or push to 950 to 975. Then if it does manage to get over 975, probably going to push to 1,000. That would be the big psychological number. So I think Sharp is going to have a strong week, assuming if the market is good and green. We'll have to see what happens. AAPL, Apple, it's got some things coming up. I mean, on the daily right here, I mean, it's at support at the 110 area, but with the news coming out or the some events coming up that they should get some hype behind it. So I would definitely look over 113 for push to 115 to 117, 118 area. Then to 120, if it does get any momentum, you can probably see the next big area would probably be the 124 area on the 1 hour and daily. So definitely watch for Apple reversal. TGT target. I mean, if you look on the daily, I mean, it's bouncing right and riding the RCT trend line and the 20 moving average, 20 EMA. So if it does manage to get over this 148.50, it's going to push to 150 and probably the 152 area. So you can also probably get pushed to the 153. It would be a lot of resistance in the 153 area. So I don't see too much upside. I mean, it could go and break all-time highs again, but we'll have to see if it does or not. But cross out that. Somehow I had Tesla written twice on my thing. Apparently I just didn't want to miss it. SPY, I mean, that SPY is pretty much at the is at support, at the 334 area on the daily, and you get a bullish divergence going on here. It's making lower lows and higher lows on the MACD, so it's diverging. And plus, I posted on Twitter that the last 4 times that the SPY has bounced off from the 50 EMA on the daily, so it is at the 50 EMA on the daily. Let's see if history repeats itself and it does bounce. If it does, I would watch it over 336 for a push to 340, and it gets to 340, 342.50 area, and it does manage to break out that. I mean, it's probably going to go to 345, even 350. So I think SPY is due for at least a dead cat bounce. Definitely can see it going to possibly 350 this week if the bounce comes and nothing bad happens and stuff like that. So, and we have FOMC and OPEX this week, so it could be choppy. I highly doubt that the Fed will change anything. There will be more or less their tone for the future outlook or their what's going to happen down the road. So if they're hawkish or dovish, it will definitely have a big effect on FOMC. So on Wednesday. So the bearish side, I just have a few. Definitely have UPS. I mean, it's just staying in this little channel, and yeah, it's holding support, but I think that once it gives, I mean, look at the weekly. I mean, the weekly, the MACD, the RSI weekly is like 78, and the MACD is so high. It's at like 98%, and it's starting to turn right there. So definitely like UPS underneath the 156 area, and if it does get under 156, I mean, it's got room to fall to 145. This is open air right here, so it will definitely fall to the 145 area if it does manage to finally collapse and fall apart. Shaq is another one. I know that Shaq was bleeding a little bit on Friday, and I was looking at that, but I didn't take it. But if it does manage to get below Friday's low of 64.50, I would watch for short and probably push down to the $60 range, and then the 55 area on Shaq's daily. So Shaq would be definitely one to watch on the short side. ROKU, same thing. I mean, the chart of it loads. I mean, it's the weekly. I'll pull up the weekly. I have the weekly up on my other screen. And it can't get over this 170 area and hold, and it pops up and it just gets quickly rejected. So I would definitely watch for a short side on that. And also I want to point out on the weekly, I just saw on the other screen, is that you got making higher highs, and the MACD's making lower highs, so that's having a bearish divergence on the weekly. So I would definitely watch under Friday's low, which is 152. I'd even say 152, and then get a gap to fill down here at 148 and support at the 145 area. But if it does manage to break this critical 146, 145 area, it's got some room to fall to the 134. There's a gap, so definitely be watching Roku. Roku can make a big dump this week. Not saying it will, but it could. Another one is Disney. Just making notes as I'm going along. I'm glad to see that Toss is still making him delaying and still being very, very slow. Now I am seeing on the head and shoulders right here is left shoulder, the head, and possibly a right shoulder right here. So I would definitely be watching for a head and shoulder to play out on the weekly. Underneath 131, I would watch for a push to the 127 area. If it does manage to break 127, gap supports at 123. And if it does manage to break that, 123 area is got a gap to fill all the way down to the 118 area. So definitely be watching Disney too. The last one on the bearish side is Win. Now Win, I mean, it's staying underneath the middle Keltner channel. I'm a middle Keltner 20 EMA, sorry, I'm just having a brain fart. So I am thinking that if it does manage to break Friday's lows of 81, I would watch for a gap fill down. Actually, that gap fill got filled right there, but I would watch for this gap fill right here at the 75 area. If it does manage to get under 81, then you have support at 70. If it does manage to lose 70, I mean, you get some gaps right here in the 59 area, but I don't see it going that far unless there's a major sell-off in the market. But I'd definitely be watching to see it fall to possibly the 176 area on Win. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for the watch list. We'll change accordingly to the market conditions. I mean, you can't predict what's going to happen, what news is going to drop. So part of trading is you need to change your outlook and your strategy on the drop of a dime, depending on if news drops or any other economic developments come up or stuff like that. So you just have to, you can't be narrow-minded and biased, and that would just get you in trouble. So I have been guilty of that in the past. Sometimes I still am, but it is what it is, and just have to adapt to what the market gives you, and that's pretty much going to do it. So like I said in the beginning of the video, the link to the Discord is in the description or the bio, the social media accounts, and hopefully we'll have another great trading week, and that's going to do it. Thank you.